Little Al gets into the side, and Al, an incredible accident. Both cars flipping. Another serious accident at the Michigan 500. Two cars together. Al Unser Jr. and Chip Ganassi. Its report is that Al Unser Jr. looks okay. Bobby, let's look at it again. They come onto the backstretch. Ganassi looks like he gets off the wall and collects Little Al.
Yes, he definitely broke something, and just take Little Al right down with him, but he obviously broke something on his car because the car just made an immediate turn.
And they hit the road. I think, really, you've just seen the top of the car coming off. That's indicating the car flip, but that's the nasty one. As Ganassi hits the fence, catches the barrier, the car was in the air, looked like the top of the car slams into the barrier.
For Chip's car, it was a very bad wreck. It looks like Little Al's car stayed right side up through the whole thing, as near as I can tell, Paul.
This has been a nasty section of the Michigan Speedway course. We'll talk about that in a moment. See, he just turned. Apparently something breaks. Al collects it.
Yes, it did. There was no place for Al to go, and see, Chip was just continually going down and just holding Little Al there, and there's nothing either driver can do anything about.
Watch this. This will give us an idea, too, of that's just the top coming off the car, but as they get across that ditch, Chip gets high into the air, slams into the barrier, oscillates in the air. Tremendous accident. The car badly damaged, literally cut in half there.
That's a bad accident, Paul.
This is the same place Mike Kiss and Merle Bettenhausen, I believe, got together, back in the same area of the track. Look at the debris strewn all over the race course. There's Chip Ganassi. Saw him last night. He said, hey, mention my name a bit more. I just got a second place. Let's hope that Chip is okay. We certainly didn't want to mention his name in this way, as involved in an accident here in what appears to be a serious one at the Michigan 500.
Michael's away. Let's go to Gary Gerald. Gary?
And they finished service on Emerson Fittipaldi, and this is a quick stop, Jack. It was right around 11 seconds, but problem on pit road.
Terrible crash. It looked like the Andretti car for a second there as he came over the top of Fittipaldi. On the exit, we had just mentioned that it is Michael, and Michael got way in the air, but he reaches down, takes the steering wheel off. He's okay, but boy, it looked like he got high. Just exactly what we talked about just moments before that, and how careful you have to be when you jump to the pits so very quickly.
Look at this. It's going to be a confrontation, I think.
Michael Andretti runs back down the center of the pits. That car sits there, and Michael goes right for the Penske pits.
Yeah, you bet.
Here is Fittipaldi. As he started to move away, they waved him out. He pulled out and pulled fairly wide as he came out to avoid that pit in front of him. And there came Michael with no place to go, hit the brakes. Fittipaldi didn't have much choice, though.
Well, there wasn't any choice. That was, in a way, an unavoidable accident. It's a serious accident. It almost got Michael on his head, but what would Fittipaldi do? He just gave everybody else enough room. He came out. Unfortunately, he squeezed Michael in, but it was not an intentional thing.
Here was a situation in this morning's session as we look at a live shot of Scott Pruett. He had his problems during the warm-up. As he came onto shoreline, which is the pit straight here, everything appeared to be normal. But watch, though, as he headed down into the very first corner, which is a hard right-hander. Passing under the Texaco Bridge just ahead, downshifting, and suddenly... the car head-on into the tire barrier at the end. Now, looking at it again, apparently what happened was the front brakes failed on the car, because if you watch that front tire, it never stopped rolling. Scott brushed it into the wall, got it pointed back straight, and wisely took the tire barrier right straight on, which is the safest way to take it.
And of course, the important thing is to understand that Scott Pruett sustained terrible injuries to his legs 2 years ago in an accident where the brakes failed.
Piquet had spent the morning putting up the 6th best time of the day with a speed of more than 228 miles per hour. This is his first appearance at Indy, and he'll remember it for some time. On the crash, he sustained multiple fractures to both lower legs and feet in the accident, as well as suffering a concussion. The impact was so severe it took emergency crews 10 minutes to remove him from the wreckage. Piquet had surgery to correct the leg damage at Methodist Hospital in Indianapolis. He will be out of action for at least a month.
And look at, and another car, and that's Mario.
This involves Mario Andretti. You see him moving over toward the pit wall on the inside. Mario Andretti. Well, that's been more
more like a war zone today than it has been a race. We hardly get the race started, we have another crash.
Very lucky for Michael Andretti. This will bring out a yellow, which will enable him to take care of his tire problem.
Well, remember, Sam, we don't know that he has one. Let's tell everybody that, but he's just worried that he may have, and often the tires don't give a problem until you're in the middle of the turn.
Now watch this as we ride with Mario. Waiting for the green to come out. The field strung out through the third turn now. The short chute is ahead.
But you just don't want to know. You just don't want to look.
Back end just came loose.
Oh.
Boy, that gives you an idea how hard they hit here. Back end just came loose, just like you just said, Paul. There was, I don't think anybody else involved or anything else involved.
Sixth time that a crash has taken Mario out of the Indy 500.
He's failed to finish in 20 of 27 Indy races.
And it's at the same place that turn 4 coming off. It's got to be slippery up there because we've seen a lot of problems.
And that was a fairly head-on angle into the wall, so we hope Mario is okay as we take a look at this situation again.
This race has turned into a demo derby, basically. And yet, in a sense, it is also proof that today's technology in Indy cars can protect the driver. We've seen accident after accident without serious injury. It makes you wonder, why can't we have something like this for our passenger cars? I hope that in the next 10 or 15 years, the technology that we are seeing developed here at Indianapolis will start to be available widely for all of us who drive our families on the street.
Violent spin when he hit the wall.
The cars that were running behind Mario all had to jog around there, including Bobby Rahal. This is the in-car in slow motion. Now watch his hands. He tries to correct it.
Yeah.
Now remember, on a very engine car, that once it's gone sideways, you see, he quits working the steering wheel, because once you've gone so far sideways, there's nothing left to do with the steering wheel. Just ride it out and hope for the best after that.
And did you see him push his head back into the headrest just before he got to the wall?
Yeah.
You don't get a whiplash. And
he took precautions, that's for sure.
That's the move of a veteran.
Yeah. I bet he pulled his feet back in there, too.
This view is right from the wall that separates the main straight from the pits.
Well, he hit that thing head on. I mean, it's bad.
It has been seriously dangerous in turn 4 this year at Indianapolis.
So a most unusual Indianapolis 500 is 84 laps old.
He had to really get an early start at him.
Take a look at this. This is the accident involving Mike Groff, which also involved Luyendyk and Johansson. But Groff hopped across one of the barrier strips and straight on into the tire.
Brave move by Tracy.
Another tire spins it. Whoa, and that's a serious look like Johansson. One of them upside down.
That's one of the Pac West cars. We can see it's a Pac West cars. Huge crash on the back straight.
The field comes to a stop again. Not a good situation here. We'll keep an eye on it. Scott Sharp, but I don't see movement. We'll keep an eye on him. And we'll pray that everything's all right here. That's just a small turbocharged fire that you see. That's not a real problem to the car and not a threat to his safety.
So Mike Groff loses it, and he becomes a launching ramp for Scott Sharp's car, who then vaulted upside down. And Scott Sharp, you can see he moves, he takes the steering wheel off himself.
It looks like he's okay, and what he's afraid of is undoing his belts and dropping out on his head. The safety crew just now getting there. There they are.
Now watch the launching ramp that Mike Groff's car becomes. Sends him upside down in a frightening, sickening succession of rolls, and thankfully you dissipate energy when you have crashes like this as you roll down the racetrack, no matter how spectacular it looks. The safety crews, they are there, and Scott Sharp, thankfully, we saw him motioning to the safety crews to say he was okay, but possibly unsure how to extricate himself.
Pole sitter leads him across the line, and we are racing here as Zanardi falls in. Look at Emerson Fittipaldi making a good move. And at the front of the middle, he touched into the wall.
He touched Brett Moore. He touched Brett Moore right there. He just came down on him a little bit.
Emerson was really flying as he came through turn 1. Devastating damage to that race car, and of course we go back under yellow. Keeping an eye on Fittipaldi and make sure he is okay, and make sure that everybody else got through clean. We didn't see any other car get sideways as a result of it. But right here on turn 2, Fittipaldi touches tires, gets into the wall, and actually slid from the turn well down the racetrack and sits on the exit to turn 2. So under yellow, with a lap and a half complete here in the Michigan 500. We'll go back and see if we can determine how this happened. Fittipaldi was the red car, definitely making a move high of more. And I think you're right. He just touched tires. The fire there, of course, is oil when you smash it.
Right here.
Yeah,
see,
there it is.
He just clipped Greg Moore. That right there is an oil flash fire where a broken oil line or something and dumped it out. That is not fuel. See, he goes right around him on the outside. See your red car up there just in front. Moore looked like he moved up maybe a hair. They're in there racing just inches apart, and he just touched, and that's all it takes. See him down here? Greg goes up just a little bit.
Yeah,
Emerson's coming down. See the piece of bodywork flying in the air right over that car. Boy, and I tell you, they were at the front of the field. The really lucky part is the rest of the field didn't get involved in that.
Well, there is Carl Hogan, who is the owner of Emerson Fittipaldi's car. You can see he's frustrated and angry with that situation. We'll check on Emerson, and we'll be back.
Now, coming into this round of qualifying, the story was, without question, Alex Zanardi's march through the record books. But all of that changed in the morning practice when our provisional pole sitter, Gilles de Ferran, came upon the disabled car of Brazilian rookie Gualter Salles and gave us all a terrible shock. The fastest part of the racetrack, 185 miles an hour plus. Listen to this crash. A tremendous impact, Danny.
Well, it's unbelievable. Well, what happened was he was going to come down the straightaway. He's very lucky. You're right at the last second. See, he just turns, and he misses hitting with the nose of the car. That rear tire, look, he's coming in here. He realizes the left frontal stops. See, it's locked up there. He just moves the wheel enough, and that left rear tire off the other car just misses his head. He was incredibly lucky right here.
Tremendous damage to both cars, but both drivers unhurt. There is Gilles de Ferran, and here is Gary Gerald.
The pieces are small enough, it won't be hard to get the car out of the way. Wow, look at that thing.
Oh my goodness.
Well, what happened?
It in the air.
Well, he got the crossover road. There's a piece of pavement that went right through that grass area. He got down on the infield onto the grass and then clipped the road that entered the infield area that tripped the car and got it upside down.
On board camera. This is Roberto.
He's heading down into turn 1 right now.
Happened off of 2.
Wow, look at that thing pointing straight in the air.
Well, that was Greco.
Well, he slowed dramatically, and Roberto didn't quite catch it quick enough, and then he caught some other stuff.
Yeah, and that road just starts flipping it. You know, Nellis Air Force Base, home of the demonstration team, the Air Force Thunderbirds, right across the street. They probably said, "Go ahead, just go ahead and apply power and get her out of here."
Yeah, that might have showed
straight up.
That might have showed up on the radar.
Oh,
we got trouble. Ouch.
Turn 2.
Wow.
A grinding crash out of turn 2. 2 cars involved.
There was Cheever on the outside that slammed the wall real hard.
And there's a car, 2 cars down to the inside. Cheever shaking his fist at Greg Ray.
Well, and yeah, that's Greg Ray and Billy's car. They're both moving around trying to get out of these things, so they're all right. The one I'm surprised at is Cheever. Cheever's got to be stunned just a little bit because that thing hit the wall hard.
Go low on the backstretch, slow it down. There's debris everywhere.
They were battling for 3rd place, make that 4th place behind Hamilton.
Well, this is Eddie Cheever right here. Again, to get out and to be able to reach down and feel if your leg's still there. I mean, there's not much left of that race car.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see that replay again.
Well, let's try to see.
This is inside Lazier's car right there. Well, again, you see them wheel to wheel, side by side. There's just not enough room. They're both fighting for the same spot and touch wheels. Again, from that angle, it didn't look nearly as severe as it did from the live angle, the other angle we saw.
Looked like they just ran out of racetrack. You know, Eddie was coming down, and the car on the bottom is naturally, you know, the gravity wants to take it up the bank, and they just ran out of room. It's very unfortunate.
It looked like Greg realized that he wasn't going to be able to get the pass done. He was actually trying to sneak back out of that situation, and you know, it doesn't take much of a wobble when they're running that close. But it's amazing these guys feel good enough to run that close to each other when they're running, you know, the speeds they're going at a mile over. Here they go again. You can see Eddie get slammed up into the wall.
Just kind of got the left rear there, and they both just went straight into the fence. It's and then that inside, I tell you, that inside impact is just as bad as the first one, because you have to wait for that one coming. You see that one coming, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. So,
well, it's a little bit like a blue light special, a 2-for-1er. You know, you get the outside wall, and what's really bad about the outside wall, it tears all the suspension off, and there's nothing there when you get to the inside wall to absorb the energy.
Nope, you don't have your brakes. You're steering, and you've got your foot on the brakes, and it's absolutely doing nothing.
Well, it looked like there's plenty of room for blame, and both drivers were gesturing and signaling to each other their disapproval.
Here it is again. Right in the bottom, you see Greg wiggle a little bit right in the middle, but they get through that, and again, they come together.
It did not look to me like Greg Ray pushed very much up the racetrack.
No, but he did. Just before they made contact, Gray wiggled. He's down low trying to get by Eddie, and the car wiggled.
Looks like it wiggles over that bump.
When it wiggled, he sort of backed out.
Those wall-mounted cameras are earning their pay today, overtime.
Well, the drivers are taking a beating and earning their pay today, too.
One of the cars involved John Hollingsworth. Here's why.
Watch Eliseo Salazar come through in the green and yellow car. Gets upside down on the side as he scrapes along the wall. We'll show you why the accident occurred. Here's Salazar coming through. Now watch, we'll stop it. Look, his wing is down in the rear wing. Just folded down on the backside.
There you see it behind the car. The car is totally out of control here. He hits the wall, the car gets launched and is on the side, but luckily enough for Salazar, comes back on its wheels pretty quickly.
Unbelievable. Two major incidents for Salazar here in the last 2 years. And then John Hollingsworth, who's now been in 2 situations.
In the field, back about Mauricio Guzman.
Big crash in front of me, Paul.
Yep, big crash going into one. Mark Blundell and Eliseo Castroneves, it appears to be.
It is Castroneves.
Is the other car?
Yeah, it's Mark Blundell and Castroneves.
Yeah. It's in turn 1. So now if there were any question at all for fuel for anybody, that's gone. Is Eliseo Castroneves okay?
They're both conscious.
Already there.
We saw them both moving. I saw Castroneves pushing some of the bodywork out of the cockpit. We could see from the onboard of Blundell that his hands were moving on the steering wheel. Oh, that's just a huge hit.
That's a massive impact. Castroneves catches the wall about 4 different times as it comes to a stop. Fortunately, most of it with the right side, but you hope that all the energy absorption isn't gone away. There's Castroneves, and he seems to be fully alert. Not very happy. Well, limping just, is that a limp or just frustration? Breck picks up the lead. And Zanardi, with a terrible crash. Yellow is out. Zanardi coming out in turn 1. Loses control of the car. The rest of the field, look at him slow down. There's debris all over that racetrack.
They'll go down over the curbs if necessary. There's so much carbon fiber on that track everywhere. It'll cut the tires. What we saw is he got T-boned just unbelievably in the front of the tub. It was an enormous hit.
The field completely slowed now.
Bruno Guerrero seems to think it's a 2x2 start.
Making a big move up the inside. Looks like he's by Cristiano going down into one.
What a move by Bruno Guerrero, and we have a huge accident on the front straightaway. Several cars have come together, and the track is blocked. There it is.
Big accident. We saw cars flipping right in front of us as they came by.
Red
It's
flag.
going to be a red flag.
You're looking from overhead at the continuing efforts to extract Tora Takagi from his stricken race car. Here's another look at the multiple car accident. That's Takagi flying through the air in red and white.
Everything's all already been triggered now, and it's so difficult to see. These guys were just planning on the start, and all of a sudden they're running this thing at full speed or 3/4 speed just to stop the race cars.
Now, Christian Fittipaldi told us moments ago that his car was damaged as well, bringing the total to 10. There's Jimmy Vasser's car upside down after coming to rest on Michael Andretti's. Andretti and Patrick Carpentier climbing out to assist their stricken colleague. There's Carpentier's car coming to rest. That is Mario Dominguez coming from the rear. He started last in the field. An absolutely horrifying accident. There's the onboard view from Michael Andretti's car as he gets into the back of Carpentier.
All of a sudden, these cars just start stacking up in front of Michael, and he's had nowhere to go.
And we've been told that all the injuries are non-life threatening. If you look closely in that scene when they were loading Tora Takagi, you saw him squeezing the safety worker's hands. And in an accident like this, if you even say anything about a sore neck, you're on a backboard with a neck collar before you can even breathe. And it's just the ultimate precaution. And so it looks more serious. Hopefully, it obviously is serious, but the word is non-life threatening.
Good evening. After 9 years of retirement, Mario Andretti was looking forward to a ride of a lifetime at the Speedway today. The 63-year-old walked away from one of the most dramatic crashes in history. Here it is. Andretti was on the final run of the day, only seconds behind Kenny Breck in turn 1. Breck crashed coming out of the turn. Mario came up on the accident while running at 220 miles an hour, and he hit some debris. And then he held on. He rode out one spectacular crash. Mario walked away with only a nick on his chin about the size of a penny. And I caught up with Mario's son, Michael, right after the accident.
He really got a great run that time. He's going to go by going into turn 3. Oh, contact.
On their 2 leaders, the 2 leaders are out of this race, and the 7th yellow of the afternoon.
He had a great run on him. It looked like he had the pass made, and then contact going into that corner. See, he makes the run. He's down at the inside. It looks like Kanaan's going to let him go, and then couldn't. Oh, man, Scott Dixon just hit that thing a ton with the left rear side.
Now, is this a case that Kanaan did not give him enough room?
Well, I'm not sure. You just can't.
Push up.
You can't
that
tell.
That angle, you can't tell.
You can't tell who did what there, but definitely, Kanaan didn't expect him to be that high on the racetrack.
Let's watch again.
You can't really tell where the bottom of the racetrack is from the angle we're watching it, but.
Well, it looks to me like Kanaan came down from that angle.
Yeah, Kanaan came down, but you can't tell how far into the corner they were. Man, oh man,
a huge impact.
It was very similar.
Look again.
It's
you can't tell. With those 40 plays, you really can't tell. It's 2 leaders going for the same piece of real estate.
That's exactly right. It looked like.
Look at his impact. Look at his impact in slow motion. Oh, and the car got airborne just before he hit the wall.
Yeah, he hit that thing a ton. I mean, those guys both hit the thing a ton.
Well, there's Dixon is climbing out with
he
some
is
help.
climbing
out, so that's great news.
Back to Miami, and we have had a multiple car crash. That is Brian Herta, the XM satellite number 7. He is moving inside the car, and it was just after the start on the green. And Jill, that is the worst side right there, fire.
Yeah, that's Danica Patrick there. That's an unfortunate end for her. She opened her visor. That means she's probably okay, but that fire doesn't look too good to me.
Well, the Delphi safety crew is on their way, and this was just after a restart, and Danica was actually being recycled back for a pit entry violation, carrying too much speed. But they've got to get there and get that fire out quickly. And here it is.
There we go. 3 cars side by side going through there right now. The car on the top
Number 55, Kotsky Masur, is up in the dust, up in the dirt. The back end goes around, goes along and collects everybody. And now he's going to hit his teammate right there, Scott Sharp, right in the side. So that's just cold tires, Jill, as you know. And being up there as the race continues on, a lot of debris starts to get up there, and it's not the place to run.
Well, let's look at the view from Thomas Schechter, and this should be extremely dramatic.
A great start by Kotsky on the right-hand side, absolutely, Todd. Starts to come down a little bit. You see the back end starting to slide. That's what we call oversteer. Turns around and just collects. Thomas Schechter almost got through with it.
Here's Danica. Now, she tried a risky move. She dropped down low. She saw the incident early. Look at this, Shill. Clips Ed Carpenter.
She clips Ed Carpenter. She didn't back off. She went.
Oh, she's walking. Danica's up and
that's
walking.
Good news.
That's good news.
I tell you, that was an unbelievable incident there. Kotsky obviously got caught out, like Scott said, with cold tires and low pressures, lost the car. Danica was coming down the inside, and she probably didn't see the whole incident developing and kept her foot in to go down the inside.
But the crew stays right with him as he takes this green to restart the race lap.
Oh,
1, 2, 3 cars. Upside down and back over. Oh, that's Simmons. That's Simmons. That's Simmons got upside down. That's Simmons.
Wow.
Right there.
Yeah, he spun. Exactly what happened. Cheston got out. Cheston saw it. Simmons had no.
Well, he had no view. All he could see was Cheston right in front of him.
Absolutely no view of that. When Cheston got out of the throttle, he was so close, he just ran over him. There was another car that spun back there. Must have. I'm not sure who that was.
Well, Scott just lost it on his own.
Yeah. Scott Sharp just lost it, and it's easy to do coming off the corner like that.
And here comes Marco. Oh, look out! Airborne! Frankini's upside down. Dixon is involved. The wheels touched. Weldon is involved.
Airborne up here, got up into the fence. We got him coming down. Copy that. Scott, you okay?
Looks like Sam Hornish also involved, and right now, folks.
Yeah, he got hit in the head.
Think good thoughts. The Delphi safety crew is heading for Dario.
Follow those guys and go one more lap or come down. Some guys are laid out. If you want to come down, let's come down. Let's do it.
Oh, car on the tires.
And one Pablo Montoya's in the tire roll.
And it's wet down.
Oh!
It is wet.
Michaela Lotion gets in heavy into the back of Montoya.
Yep, the track is wet.
It's got to be. You need to get that car off of the Lotions.
Yeah, the right rear is definitely not in a good location. Let's hope Mikhail is all right there. And further up. So here's Montoya asking to be refired. He's got his hands in the air. He gets clipped by Hinchcliffe, who loses it. Bourdais goes off. And then shortly thereafter, here's a Lotion, comes in hard. And just augers underneath.
It looked like he took a frontal impact with the helmet, like maybe the tire landed on top of his head, but it looked like his helmet was to the side of it.
Total speculation, but just reading the body language of the safety workers, it seemed like there was a conversation perhaps there, but I'm just speculating.
Good clean start. Rossi is pressuring Pato O'Rourke, and then Alex Palou.
Rossi is very eager to get by in the first turn. We have a car off in the grass, but he collects it.
Rinus VK.
Oh, he touches wheels with Simon Pagano as well, but Rossi wants to make the move on the first lap.
Oh! You got it!
Oh, that's blind uphill, a big accident right there.
Colton Herta,
over the place.
Hunter Ray, Dalton Kellett, Max Chilton,
Rosenquist,
Hinchcliffe. Huge moment.
I got loose in dirty air. He got Newgarden City got loose up over the hill. It's completely blind over the hill. Lost it in the grass, and as everybody else came over the hill.
Scott Dixon in that orange and blue PNC car. Look at Will Power in the black and red Verizon car. Ready? Big crash.
Spinning out the back. We're going to yellow.
Daly. Fittipaldi.
Daly's upside down, I believe. That was a real slow start. Guys started spinning their tires up. Daly's right side up now, but this is devastating for these guys here at the back.
Bourdais in it, 2 crashes in 2 days. Connor Daly, he's had a wild ride here before many years ago, and he's just taken another one. That's the tail end of it. We'll give you another look. Apologies for that technical problem there. We'll give you another look at it, what was the catalyst? That's what we need to find out. Look to the right-hand side of your screen.
Fittipaldi got into the back of Bourdais and turned him, and then it was just a melee from there on. So
Dalton Kellett, look at Tony Kanaan to the left of your screen, trying to tiptoe through all of that debris. Watch the purple and black. Purple car is Pietro Fittipaldi. He went into the Rocket Chevrolet of Sebastian Bourdais. There's Connor Daly.
And that happens, guys, it happens so fast, and you're hard on the power, and these cars don't stop well with these brakes and this aero configuration. You get on the brakes, but Connor came in there. He's obviously on the brakes, but you just can't even get it slowed down enough to even do anything.
Yeah, Connor had a head of steam.
Boy, I tell you what, Colton Herta got lucky. Did you notice that, guys? Coming through the middle in the Capstone Honda. He was able to avoid all of that. And Ryan Hunter-Reay was just ahead of him, and Tony Kanaan was on the far outside. So several drivers extremely fortunate not to get caught up in that. Those became first-time winners.
Rahal lost it out of the pits.
Cold
right in front of the leaders. That was, a tire was hit.
And a tire went into the infield. He was coming out and trying to hustle it on the warm-up lane, and it's so easy to do. Cold tires, narrow track, and he lost it right in front of the field, and it was a hard hit into the wall. Boom! And that is, without the aero screen, the potential for that to be catastrophic is very high.
On board with Connor Daly.
Oh, terrifying.